Alright, so my plan here was to talk a little bit about Transatlantic and Transpacific cruises, which we are on right now. This is our third of the sort. We did 2 Transatlantics going east to west, and this is our first Transpacific west to east. And I wanted to talk about the different virtues and disadvantages of these cruises, because they're definitely a different animal than your standard 7-day Caribbean thing. So now we go up? Oh, there's a picture. It doesn't go, I think we walk the full distance. Because unless you want to walk the ring, yeah, we could do that. So I have some things here, and I'll discuss them in order of increasing positiveness. In other words, start out with the least desirable traits of a transoceanic cruise, and then end with the more positives. So one of the disadvantages of these cruises is there's really limited sailings. They typically happen in the shoulder seasons. The purpose for the cruise lines is to reposition the cruises from one sailing region to another. For example, doing the Mediterranean in the summer and the Caribbean in the winter. So this one was in the Australia region and Asia, and now they're moving it to Los Angeles to do a few cruises out of LA. Where are we at now? Is that it? Where we go? So the result of that is that there's specific times of the year when these things happen. They're not constantly happening, with the exception of Cunard Transatlantic, which is a different sort of cruise. So that's the first item. The second negative is that because these Transatlantics and Transpacifics have a specific route to take, it's more difficult to avoid rough waters and storms. You can't just sail around in circles in calm water like often happens in other cruises, regional cruises. So the seas can get rough. I think in our previous 2 cruises we had at least 1 or 2 rough days. We're gonna go up here. 1 or 2 rough days in the cruise. This one so far, after 10 of 17 days, we've managed to avoid anything more than a little bit of rockiness. Another difference in transoceanic cruises is that you're very far away from civilization. Your cruise will likely take you to spots that are days from any kind of land. So if you have any phobias about being 3 days from any kind of land, or concerns, healthcare concerns, for example, about being really far away from any kind of civilization, you should consider that. Okay, what's another thing? So these typically are long itineraries, necessarily, because for obvious reasons you got to sail across the ocean. I think the itineraries range from like 10 to as much as this cruise, 17 days. So there are no short itineraries. You have to have a pretty liberal time schedule to do so, like we do. Are they rehearsing 80s for a party or something? Oh, it's the Crew Champions at Sea. It's their these are actually crew members performing, showing off their talents. So I was talking about long itineraries and many sea days. This itinerary is 17 days long, and the stretch from Japan to Los Angeles is 11 continuous sea days with no ports in between. In our previous cruises, we've done 6 and 8 maybe days without ports. So you better love cruising.
I hope you're on a cruise line that has a good amount of activity.
Right.
Things to do.
It's really going to be dependent on your enjoyment of that specific cruise line and ship. Another difference is the demographic. A result of the requirement to have a lot of continuous free days available is that there's a significantly larger retired population in these cruise ships and less families and kids.
And a lot of times during school time too.
Yeah, right, because the shoulder seasons are not in summertime when kids are readily available, so there's fewer kids, more retired and older folks. So the other unique thing is that they travel through a lot of time zones. So there's good things and bad things about that. If you're going west, then you get a lot of extra free hours to deal with. And conversely, if you're going east, there's a lot of stolen hours. Another thing about that time change thing is that if you're going, for example, transatlantic from the United States to England, you could sort of sneak up on the jet lag by consuming 1 hour or so every few days, resulting in you being maybe possibly jet lag free when you get to your destination. So another unique thing about these cruises is that they have some interesting ports, at least I could say. For the transatlantics, the transpacifics, there's not a whole lot of things between Japan and North America, but between Europe and North America there are islands like the Canary Islands and the Azores and the Faroe Islands, Iceland, and number something of the unique characteristics of these cruises is they have long-term activities on the ship. They have things like a choir on the Sun Princess we were part of, where you had several days of rehearsal and then a performance. I know on this ship as well as the Sun Princess they're having a flash mob dance thing, that sort of thing. Oh, the crew, the crew entertainment we just saw doesn't happen on short cruises. They're forced to dig deeper for activities, but I think it always ends up being somewhat interesting. Oh, another thing is progressive trivia. They have trivia contests that last many, many days.
Today's number 5 of trivia.
And then the winners are the people who scored the best in all the different sessions. What else we got? Oh, so travel. This is to me one of the biggest benefits. Is that travel is combined with holiday. In other words, for our trip to Japan here, we flew to Japan on a grueling 12-hour horrible flight, coach flight, and that was it. Because coming back from Japan to where we live in California is via this cruise ship.
Much more comfortable than economy.
Definitely more comfortable and entertaining. Yeah. We don't even know we're transferring here.
Yeah, it's like a trip we would have enjoyed taking anyway, but This happens to be our transportation.
And the last item is cost. Generally cost is less per day. This one in particular, the past ones we've gone on have been a little cheaper.
They're brand new ships.
By maybe 10 or 20%. This trip is costing us $118 per day. That's for accommodations, for entertainment, for meals, all this, $118 a day. So for the 17-day cruise for two people.
For 2 people.
So it was less than $2,000 for 17 days of cruising. So those are the reasons why you may or may not be interested in a Trans-Pacific or Transatlantic cruise.